Hello, this is Daniel, and today I'm going to be showing you how to configure your sensors on the Supra-Touch. So first we're going to hop into our menu, and then we're going to go to Configuration. From there we will go to Sensors, and then now we have on the left here our list of all our different types of sensors. Let's hop into Temperature Sensors. Here we have our 4 different temperature probes. And once we select it, if we would hit the name, then we can rename it if we would desire to. We can assign it. So here we definitely want it to go tap that to assign it as a temperature probe if we're going to be using it. And then we can select which of the 4 zones we want it to be controlling and which of the 4 zones we want it to be an influencer for. So controlling, it's going to then be the temperature upon which that zone, the zone temperature reading is coming from this temperature probe, and it will be controlling the equipment in that zone. If you're setting it as an influencer, then it's only for reference and basically only going to be used for secondary modifiers. Once we have our setup how we want it, then we can go ahead and select Save. If we go back, we can now see Temp Probe 1, Zone 1, and it is assigned as a temperature probe. Now, if you want to do temperature probe averaging, we would just go in, we would say Temperature Probe, Zone 1, and we would save it. And so now, Temperature Probe 1 and 2 are both assigned to Zone 1, so it will automatically average those 2 readings to give us our Zone 1 temperature reading. Outdoor is our outdoor temperature sensor. So this one looks exactly the same, and we can select, really, we probably don't want it controlling any zones, but we might want it for reference for any secondary modifiers that we're going to alter behavior dependent on the outdoor temperature. But yeah, we don't want it to be controlling any zones because we don't want the outdoor temperature taken into the averaging for an indoor zone. So I will save those, and then let's take a look. The Dole 114. So the Dole probe, we can say Dole temperature. Again, same thing. We can select which zones we want it in, and then as well, let's hop back into sensors. As well, humidity, same thing. Dole humidity. And then this one, because it's not a temperature sensor, it only has the option of being an influencer. So again, we control off of temperature, and then things like humidity or CO2 or ammonia, we use for secondary modifiers. And so that's why you can only select influencer. So going on to some of those auxiliary, we've got 3 different auxiliary. And in here, we've got the list. So we can select a CO2 sensor, an ammonia sensor, a 100 lux sensor, or a 1000 lux sensor, or we can do an analog humidity or a Phason humidity sensor. And again, we would select the zone that we wanted influencing on and save our changes. So that we've got 3 that are all exactly the same, and then we also have our analog in. And so here, that is one solely for the Phason humidity sensor. So again, we could throw that into zone 2. And then finally, the final sensor is the pulse counter. So in here, we've got 2 options. We have our water pulse counter, in which case we can adjust the volume that we want for each pulse. So we can adjust it in increments of 0.1 gallons per pulse, and then as well select which zone we want it to be an influencer on. And then as well, we've got wind speed, which obviously you would select whether that's in miles per hour or kilometers per hour in your units configuration. And then again, you can select which zone you want it to influence, save your changes, and there you go. So that is how you configure the various different sensors in the Supra-Touch. I will see you guys in the next video.